Good morning, happy Friday, and welcome to the NOFO Live podcast, where I, Sunita, along with my co-host Tracy, we hop on every Friday and talk about everything North Fork. Summer is here on the North Fork. The weather is gorgeous. I have kind of forgotten about my polar bear plunge days because I went in the water yesterday at sunset and it was amazing. It's crazy how maybe just 5 years ago, I didn't used to go into the water until it was August because coming from a country where the temperatures are so hot, I needed the water to be really warm to go in. But now that I've been doing polar bear plunges the last couple of years, early in the season, the water seems to be gorgeous. But anyway, right now it's warmed up enough, so hopefully you'll find a way this weekend to find yourself at a beach and in the water someplace. Let's see what's going on. Today's Friday. The Queenport Farmers Market is on every Friday from 2 to 5:30. If you have not been, I would encourage you to go. They have an amazing assortment of farmers that show up every Friday. There is Golden Acres Farm, there is 𝗟𝗵𝗄 Farms, there is a newish farm in Mattituck called 𝗡𝗢𝗙. There is a bread, there's a couple of bread places. 1610. I forget the names. I'll tag them. But there's a couple of good farm places that come. There's a pickle guy. There's a couple of vineyards that rotate. I think Drink Chronicle was there and 𝗬𝗏𝗌. But they have live music. It's just a nice way to spend your afternoon and buy local produce and bring it home. The Shelter Island fireworks. If you haven't had your fill of fireworks yet, Shelter Island is having their annual fireworks this Saturday, I guess tomorrow. So if you haven't seen enough fireworks, yes, that's an option. I mean, obviously you can go to Shelter Island to see them. Good morning, Lacy. How are you?
Oh,
Good morning,
hi.
Tracy. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Oh, I forgot to mention that you're still in vacation mode.
Today's the last full day.
Ooh, well, enjoy it.
I know.
Um,
Yeah.
can we hear you, Lacy?
Now I can hear you. Can you hear
Okay,
me?
and now we can hear you.
Yeah.
So great. Yeah, sometimes earbuds are not the greatest. It just, mine keep popping out of my ear, so I never use them.
Yeah, I don't really ever use mine either.
I know. I just, sometimes people are in their restaurant or outside. That's really when we're like, okay, you might need them because we hear ambient noise. But
Yeah.
anyway, I was talking about, Tracy, I know this is one of your fun events that you go to. The Shelter Island fireworks are this
I
weekend.
love
So if
those.
you're still in 4th of July mode, we've got
Are those
those.
Saturday night?
I believe they're Saturday night, yes.
Yay, I'll be home. Count
Oh,
me
but
in.
I remember last year you had a journey getting there and getting to the
Yeah.
beach. So what
Yes,
is your
yes, we did.
tip? Get there early?
Yeah, I get there early, but it's totally worth it to go to Shelter Island and go
Okay.
to the beach and watch it with everybody there because it's really so festive. Everybody has all those like light up necklaces and toys, and I know that you can also see it from the North Fork
That's what I do.
side.
I just see it from across the
Yeah.
water on this side. Yeah.
But it was really truly like I actually almost felt like I was on the Riviera or something. It was really cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad Lacey's on today. It might be a little too late to help me, but I am actually entertaining tonight a large group. So now I'm starting to feel. Yesterday, I almost wanted to text you, Tracy, because you know how the day before the party, you're like, "Oh my God,
Yeah.
do I have enough food? What am I thinking? How am I going to do it?" But I reminded myself that it was the day before panic and that I could calm down. So I'm glad you're here, Lacey. Welcome.
Thanks.
Let's jump in and introduce everybody who you are, and then tell me how you can help me today.
My name's Lacy Carl. I'm the founder and like lead event planner of the Party New York. We specialize mostly in weddings, although definitely do a little bit of everything. And when I first started my company about 14 years ago, we were doing a lot of like corporate and birthday parties, nonprofit galas, that kind of thing. So, um, a little bit of experience everywhere. And in 2020, I made the big move from New York City to um, out to Greenport, which is where I live full time. So that's when I really shifted my focus to weddings. And I do probably, I'd say 90% of my events between the Hamptons and the North Fork, at wedding venues and private residences here.
Tell me how you came up with the name. It just sounds like I'm ready to party. As soon as I hear the party name, I'm like, I guess I know what she does.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know. So originally when the party in New York started, I co-founded it with a friend of mine, a very good friend, and we kicked around a lot of names. We wanted something that was exactly like embodied the party. That's what we were really good at and known for, is like making sure that every event was very fun. That was our focus. Um, and the party in New York just felt right. At first we were just gonna have it be the party. That felt a little too vague and was hard to copyright. So the party in New York was born.
So, Lacey, as an event planner, I can understand the switch from, going corporate to going to private and weddings. So, tell us a little bit about how that changed everything.
Yeah, so I think when I came out here, it's kind of like, I like it's not the same clientele. Like I'm not having the same people reach out. And I had done weddings when my business was in the city, but I was doing, maybe like two or three a year, smaller ones. And so I had dipped my toes in the water already. But once I came out here, I was like, oh, there's all these vineyards with these great, wedding packages. There's tons of weddings on private properties. I fell in love with doing tented weddings. And so it just felt like like once I kind of got into it, I really felt like, oh, this is actually where I was supposed to be the whole time. Like I really loved the switch. So.
Is there a certain criteria that you use to choose what couples you work with and what couples you don't?
Um, yes, and um, I would say I'm getting better at that. So just like really vetting on calls that our personalities blend
Hmm.
well and match. When I first was making that transition, it was straight out of COVID, kind of COVID times. And because I was sort of restarting out here, I was taking on tons of pretty much everyone that came my way. And I think those first couple years I was doing 20 plus weddings a year, which
Wow.
out here everything is so seasonal. So it was 20 plus weddings that all fall, May to October and then, are kind of pushed in there. Um, so I was taking everything, and now I've kind of realized the clients I enjoy working with are throwing the higher production weddings. So they really are design focused.
Hmm.
They want those specialty things. So now I'm taking on much less weddings per year, but just focusing on bigger. So the amount of work has kind of gone up, but the amount of actual weekends that I'm doing weddings has gone down. So
It's amazing the
Yeah.
evolution. It's amazing the evolution for every business thought process, right? When you start out, you're like everybody's your client, but then trying to figure out your own niche of what works for you, and I think it kind of goes across many industries, but more so with planning because you're bringing somebody's special day and their vision to life.
yeah.
So tell me, and again, just for my own curiosity, does each wedding planner have their own sort of aesthetic that they prefer? And is it better to find somebody that jives with your aesthetic, or do you camouflage and come up with every
Yeah.
aesthetic based on the bride?
I think not necessarily. I like working with aesthetics that are outside my comfort zone. That's what kind of keeps it new and interesting. Like I don't want to do the same wedding over and over, and I don't want my clients to have a copycat wedding of something I did, a year or a month prior. So I love working with people whose aesthetic doesn't necessarily match what I would do for my own event. Um, I think it's more that the values and the personality line up when I'm looking. Like I really want to work with the couple. I don't want to work with, the parents or the
Hmm.
sister that wants to be involved. Like I want to be, your your go-to contact, and I want to be working with them on their day. A lot of my clients tend to skew on the older side. They're paying for the weddings themselves. They're established. They are running their own businesses or have high-powered jobs where they don't want to, be bogged down with all the decisions and choices, but they're the ones that are like, kind of steering the ship. It's not a lot of the like, I don't know, straight out of high school where the mom's just planning the wedding or something. Like, I feel
Yeah.
like that happens, but I really love working with those clients that like know who they are and what they want.
But that's got to be a little challenging because everybody has an opinion, right? And I guess part of your job is also to make sure you keep all of those at bay and are giving the bride and the groom their vision and what they would enjoy. But I
Yeah.
can see how that can be challenging when there's so many different personalities involved in steering the ship.
Yes, and it can get tricky, like, you do a tasting or a walkthrough, and all of a sudden everyone's bringing their family members, and then you have everyone kind of chirping in your ear. Like, I actually encourage people, like, let's keep it small, the
Hmm.
couple and me, and whether it's a venue manager or we're visiting with the catering company or the tent company. Because if you start to take on everyone's opinions, like you get confused, you get overwhelmed, and not only with family members, but things can be really tricky, like Instagram. Like once someone gets engaged, it knows, and you're being fed all the time, all these ideas and all these weddings and parties that you're looking at. And a lot of the times what you're seeing online that you're getting fed are like multi-million dollar productions. And so it can get very confusing of, oh, I want this, I want this. And it's like, that's great. We can find a way to, incorporate some of those things that are in your price range or that work out here. Like people also don't understand the things they're seeing online are sometimes it's just styled shoots, so they're not actually practical. Like there might
Mm.
be, something that whether it doesn't work for a large group or it doesn't actually work in terms of food service or with the weather. I mean, a majority of things we do out here are outdoor or like indoor outdoor. We're tented. We have to think about how the weather plays into things. On the North Fork and the Hamptons, we're not in ballrooms, we're not in air conditioned, like hotels that are, holding everybody. So I think it can get confusing when you're getting that overload of, um, the photos, the videos on Instagram and other social media, Pinterest, that kind of thing.
I think another thing, again, as another event planner, when you're dealing with couples who are getting married, they may never have planned an event before ever. So they don't know a lot of the terminology. They don't know the pricing of things. They
Mhm.
don't know, like you said, what is more natural to out here and what's achievable. So there is also, I'm guessing, like a period where you kind of have to educate them as to what's really doable within their price range.
Absolutely. Like I think, one of the things, price range, like educating on budget, and as with a lot of stuff lately, like prices have skyrocketed on so many
Yeah.
things, on flowers, on just food, goods and services. Like it's not what, even if the families have maybe like the sister got married 10 years ago, I mean, it's a different world. And also I think, sometimes people, especially, they come out and they're starting to look at places on the North Fork and they think it's going to be a lot less expensive than a Hamptons wedding or a city wedding. It's really not anymore. It is, the prices are aligned with Hamptons prices, with city prices. Like you can actually maybe get something more all encompassing and like full scale at a venue in the city where your rentals are included in like the
Hmm.
hotel. It's out here, you're really, a lot of times we're building things from the ground up with like a tented wedding, which includes everything from lighting and tables and chairs and dishware, but also bathrooms. And we need to think about A lot of places don't have enough parking, so we're thinking about valet or doing offsite and shuttles. Like people, think, oh, I'm gonna go to like the country in the North Fork and have this, and
Low
it's
key
not
wedding.
I'm
gonna,
gonna get up, I'm
yeah.
gonna get off with my heels and my flowy gown and walk
Yeah.
but
you
it,
know
Yeah.
but it's
and you can
gravel.
achieve that look, of course, and I say that, and of course there are people that are throwing backyard weddings for a lower cost and doing things more DIY. That's not really the type of wedding I specialize in, but it can probably be done by, it's just a different level again than, don't show me the photos on Pinterest and Instagram that you want
Yeah.
this very full production and expect it to be at this, like, North Fork country
Yeah,
cost.
well, it
Um,
goes back to what we were saying about educating people, where, people don't understand. If you go to a wedding venue, they are like, your price per head is this, and it basically includes like everything minus the photographer and flowers, and versus something that you're doing, which I'm very well versed on, is like from ground up, you literally the ground, you
yeah.
have to put the flooring down on the tent, and you
Including
have
the
the tent
bathroom,
and the
including
bathrooms and
bringing a
everything.
bathroom. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 So I have a question, and and Tracy, jump in and feel free to answer this after Lacey. Sounds really stressful from from the person who's doing the job to create this beautiful ambience and environment and the wedding. How do you decompress after each major event so that you can fill your own cup and then be ready for the next one? Because, like you said, the season is so short. Do
Yeah.
you even have a minute to breathe? And how do you survive the season?
Good question. Okay, so for me, some of that really starts the night of the event. Like the payoff is there, things are going smoothly, I can see how beautiful it is. Like I kind of start to decompress as soon as the portion is over and things are running on time and stuff. Like I feel myself like fill up as I'm watching it happen that
Mhm.
evening. So it starts there. The next day, I'm usually so exhausted. Like a lot of times, the bottoms of my feet hurt, like they feel bruised. I've done, 25,000 steps the day before, like sometimes in sand or, or grass or whatever. Um, there's the like wedding hangover where I didn't drink enough water the day before and I have such a
Hmm.
headache. So that's just like the very next day. So I try to sneak in a nap if I can. Like hopefully, my husband has the day off and can really like take care of the kids for a while so I can sneak away. But then Monday, I do try to usually, the Monday after events, not schedule calls or things with clients for like the next upcoming thing, just have a reset day.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think for me, really the filling of the cup happens the night of the event when I'm like, it's such a like high watching it all happen. So
And I know,
Yeah.
Tracy, you can speak to this because I mean, I've helped you only for a couple of events, but there is this roller coaster of chaos, chaos, chaos. And then, as you described, Lacey, the evening off when you watch everything you have created that day going great. And then I would assume some version of a crash where you're emotionally, physically exhausted.
Mm.
Tracy,
Yeah, well,
you can write a book on that.
I really could. My events are usually multiple days.
Mhm.
So but I do feel sort of the same thing because often during the actual event, there isn't as much for me to do as there is in the pre. Like it's
Yep.
so much of getting it all ready, getting the doors open. And then yes, there's some coordination happening, but it's very minimal in comparison. So I kind of try to have staff in place to manage what's happening on site and go into the production office or trailer and have some quiet time to myself. But often, because I'm there multiple days and I'm traveling most of the time, I usually try to book an extra day at the hotel so that I literally do not need to wake up. I have a team that's going to load out for me because our loadouts often take several days. And I like sleep for 12 to 14 hours
Mhm.
straight,
Sure.
and then I wake up kind of like weird and comatose, but and then I try to really move my body Like you said, Lacey, my feet, I mean, I feel it everywhere. So I really have to do, like, I bring a foam roller with me, and I really have to just like reawaken my body to regular life, because that sort of pounding that's happening during that intense time is really tough. It's
Yeah.
really tough. Yeah,
Yeah. It's very physically taxing.
it is.
Yeah.
I mean, and again, if I had not done some events with you, Tracy, I wouldn't have seen this side of it, because what the outside world sees is gorgeous food, gorgeous tent, gorgeous event, and it sounds like you're sitting at maybe someone sitting at your desk and doing it. Nobody thinks about the hard work that it takes to pull this. And then it's one thing to do it once, because that bride and groom or whoever's throwing that event, for them it's one event. They're done, they're happy, they've moved on. You, Lacey, have to be ready possibly next weekend, or possibly maybe even during the next week. So it's kind of important to pace yourself for the marathon.
It is. It is. It's definitely something, when I talked about when I first started was taking on 20 plus weddings, there were days I would have like a welcome party Friday, a wedding Saturday, another wedding on Sunday. Like I was doing multiple
Crazy.
back to back. And now it's like I do often have back to back, like a welcome party and a wedding, but always for the same couple. I no longer will book like two weddings in one weekend that I'm doing. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's again, like the payoff is worth it of watching it all unfold. It still makes me like feel so happy and those things, and I don't, hopefully that never goes away. I think if it does, then it's time to think about different things, but yeah.
Do you do other events
Lacey,
other?
tell us how couples find you. How do couples find
Um,
you?
a lot of word of mouth and a lot of Instagram or social media. So I'd say it's about
Hmm.
50-50. I'm on the preferred vendor list of a lot of venues on the North Fork and in the Hamptons, actually even some in the city. So that's a big one. Like if people have booked their date and their venue, they'll reach out to me off of that list. Um, Instagram has been huge for my business. I mean, it's such a visual thing. So a lot of times it is people that, I'll get people that reach out and say, I've been following you for a while. I just got engaged. Like, let's talk. Or, um, like collaborating on posts of previous weddings with venues or photographers. And then they'll
Hmm.
be like, oh, I just booked this venue and like I saw you all over their page. And they'll reach out that way.
Well, and also, I mean, we don't talk about it enough, but that's like its own other job that you have to now, and it's not just pretty pictures anymore, which I'm a little bit resentful about truthfully. It's like you have to have a video editing, and you have to have, stories and reels and slides and all these things, and that takes a lot of time, and you've got to make sure you're capturing it during the event, right? And not just whatever their wedding photographer gives you. You want to capture the setup and the during and all of the behind the scenes, and then you have to put it all together in a nice little package and multiple packages and know when to roll them out. It's a whole other job.
Oh, it definitely is. I actually started outsourcing that like a few years
Yeah.
ago because I realized I was not good at it at all. I think I once went an entire year with posting on my business Instagram. I just was not good at it. And I realized how important it was, and I hired someone to take on that. They edit all my pictures and reels and do all the posting. Um, and that was huge for me. Like it brought my online presence way up because again, I just wasn't doing it. And the quality is so much more than what I could create. But I realized, as I grew in a business, there was things that I couldn't do everything. And so I would rather outsource for things like that and take on um, rather than hire another full-time planner, like I like to be the main point of contact for most of my couples, um, I do have someone now, an associate planner with me who will take on her own. So that has grown. But that start was like, okay, what piece can I give away? And so, thinking about that, it was like accounting, like that is someone else's job. That is not mine as a creative person to do my accounting. Instagram, social media, like that is someone else's job. And giving, outsourcing those things that I couldn't do to the level that needed to be done was so helpful. Then I can focus on what it is that I do the best and that I can do for my clients the best. So that was
Well,
huge.
another valuable lesson for every business owner, that as you grow, right, and you can find the means to afford that, how much that payback comes back. It's hard as a small business to sort of take money out to have somebody photograph or have somebody do your marketing or your bookkeeping. But in the end, and again, I feel like every entrepreneur can kind of sense when they're getting to the point where it's too much for them to be carrying all of those
Mhm.
hats. So I'm glad you brought that up. And I love your, finished videos and stuff of the weddings. But personally, I'm also loving this series that you started on Instagram that you're doing with short videos with you and either your vendors or whoever you're talking to. I mean,
Yeah.
Tracy and I are all about casual conversations. So I love the little casual conversations you're having. That's a great
Yeah.
idea.
That's been so fun, and I'm looking forward to like getting back to it. I haven't filmed one in a while. I had such a busy like May, June with events, but hopefully gonna get some of those out again soon. But I had this idea of let's take a look at these people that are producing your events that you might never come in contact with, because
Mm.
yes, my clients talk to me all the time and they maybe see the catering company like once at the tasting or like an initial call, but like my clients don't usually have contact with the vendors behind the scenes. Like I'm doing all of that legwork. And so I thought it would be really interesting to be able to bring and say, like do an interview with, I've done like the rental company, the person that manages that, or a photographer, or this or that. I want to do like a tent company. Like the clients are never part of those, conversation or seeing how those people work. So I really wanted to be able to showcase like what's happening behind the scenes that really brings your party to life. So that's been a fun new thing that I started.
Lacey, before we kick off our NoFo Live 5, if there's a couple watching right now, is there anything you want to tell them?
Um, Reach out. 2026 is filling up. And I think, take your time and do some research. I think the most important thing that couples can come to me with is your estimated guest count, and your estimated budget. And it's one of those things that no one likes to talk about right away, but it really helps me be able to steer you on what venues would be a good fit if you haven't found it yet, what type of wedding you're going to be able to throw. Um, and just being able to educate along the process. But guest count is a big one. You should as soon as you get engaged and are starting to think about that wedding, make a list of who you want to invite, because especially out here there's a lot of venues that maybe there's some that have an 80-person cap, 120, like there's a lot that are smaller. So, if off the bat you want to have a 200-person wedding, that really narrows down the possibilities of the right venue fit. And I think coming into a conversation with those two things, especially your guest count and your budget.
And I would just add a
Great.
reminder of something you said in a longer version earlier, is even though it sounds fun to bring your friends and family to the tasting or to other decisions, because it sounds like several mini parties, you would steer them away from too many opinions and let them experience and make their own decisions,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah, definitely. I would say like really you want to sit down with your partner and you want to, think about what's important for you guys to, for you to invite, what type of wedding do you want? Like just because your parents want you to have a big black tie affair or invite all of their friends so that you have, 100 plus extra guests that are, just their kind of crew. If you're nervous in front of big crowds or you really want that laid back style, like think about what you want because it is your day. And I know it can get a little muddy sometimes if like parents are paying for the wedding and stuff like taking all of that into consideration. But I think going in with a clear idea of what you want so you can also like pitch that to your families and say, I don't want to get married in front of 300 people. I really want my closest friends and family there. That's what means a lot to me. I'd rather have something small and make it really a great experience for those guests than do something bigger. Or maybe you want something bigger. Like there's something for everyone, but I think figuring that out with your partner before you bring in everybody. Everyone knows, like as soon as you get engaged, everyone's, do you have a date? Do you have a venue? Like the questions start and just kind of block out that noise and yeah.
All right, let's kick off our No for Live five. So, Lacey, if you were going to take Sunita and I out for a meal, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, where would you take us?
Right now, this time of year, I would take you to Eddie's at Silver Sands. That is my
Love.
favorite lunch,
I
dinner.
want to
Yeah.
go. I drove past it. I mean, I literally drove into the thing to look at it. It looked amazing. It would be great for lunch. I think it
Oh
was
my gosh.
like a weather like today.
Yeah.
We're definitely
The
taking you up. I
food
mean,
is the
so many
food
guests
is
offer to
great.
take us places and we never take them up on it. But this one, we're going, Tracy.
Let's do
Sounds
it. We'll
great.
set a date.
Okay. Cocktail, mocktail, brewery, vineyard. What might we see you enjoy?
I like them all, but lately I have been most interested in mocktails. I really love a great mocktail. And the other day I had dinner at the Halyard and I had one that was just exceptional. I think a good mocktail is the way to go.
I mean, personally, I love. I guess it would be called the filthy faux martini, like just olives, a lot of brine, a lot of
Yeah.
water. I mean, in a martini glass, I could walk around all evening with that. And it has to be filthy because it needs a lot of brine in it, like
Yeah.
not even
Yeah.
dirty. Okay, sunrise or sunset, and also on the same question, I want to know in any of these venues that you're at, do you ever catch them, and which one is like a spectacular venue for that?
Yeah. So I'd say almost the only, I prefer sunset because I would rather be sleeping during sunrise, although with two little kids, it doesn't happen that often. Um, and usually the only time I'm catching a sunset is when I'm doing events because I'm doing like bedtime routines and stuff otherwise. Hotel Moraine would be my top favorite wedding venue for the sunset. And just, you can
Can
go
you
there.
see it?
Yeah.
Can you see it like from the lobby side of the pool, like over the pool and stuff?
Yeah.
Whoa! Because
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
that
so gorgeous
visual,
there.
yeah,
It's
I've
really
never seen it
beautiful.
at sunset.
Yeah, it's top notch for sure.
So when you're cooking at home for your family, what farm stands do you like to hit up and what do you like to get there?
Yeah. I live in Greenport. I would say my go-tos are Seps and Latham's.
Mm,
And
good
then
choice.
I'm definitely someone that like I will go different days to multiple because I have like one like I love the barbecue sauce at Halleckville that they make this like habanero barbecue sauce. So good. So like
Nice.
I will make the drive there when I'm out of that. Like I will go to different ones for different things, but just like basic all the time, Seps and Latham's.
Great. So tell us why you love being a part of the North Fork community.
Oh, so many reasons. I mean, I love like the actual community, you guys both go, but like the web meetings once a month, the network of women here and small business owners is just extraordinary and has really brought me like out of my shell, I think, being a part of that group. I've also met so many great families through my kids' school and daycare, that felt like you know, you meet families and you're kind of like friends because you're going to the same birthday parties and the same, you know, class activities. But I really felt like I've met families that even if our kids hadn't been in the same classes and stuff, that I would be friends with them, like chosen friends without, you know, the kid stuff involved. So I felt very lucky about the families I've met out here, and then the like women entrepreneur community is just top notch here.
Well, thank you, Lacy. Like you said, there's so many beautiful venues here, vineyards included, but you just, every time you have an event at one of these places, you just transform them to like beyond what we can even imagine. Like your floral, everything is so beautiful.
Oh,
So
thank
thank you for
you.
what you do. Reminder for everybody, Greenport Farmers Market today, 2 to 5, Shelter Island fireworks over the weekend, and have a good weekend, everybody. And we'll see you next Friday.
Thank you so much for having me on. This was great.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Lacey. Bye,
Bye.
Sunita.